So looking at the ACD here, simply stated, it is a feature that allows the M8L to add some of the call center type behaviors. At a basic level, customers might use a single call queue or a groups and hunting groups, but that doesn't really give an inbound customer the ability to move between departments and get to the right person. So with the ACD feature enabled, you get more advanced options on how to handle these inbound calls. Looking at some of the call distribution types, you'll see there's quite a few different options on how to distribute these phone calls. Least busy, longest idle. That way you can give all your agents an even number of phone calls, or you can just do an all-agent ring if it's a smaller group perhaps, and whoever's available just grabs the call, or you can go into a little more advanced method of a skills-based routing where you can define specific groups and the level of skill of those users within that group. Also added was zero-out options for these queues. Most people nowadays know that if you talk into an IVR, you can scream agent a bunch of times and you'll get to someone, or you can hit 0 and eventually you'll get to sort of a general queue. So if the customer's been sitting in, say, a sales queue too long, in their opinion, you could always do a zero-out, which can go to, I don't know, an answering service so they can leave a message, or to perhaps a different department, hoping that they'll get serviced over there faster. For the recorded messages when you're in a queue, you've got your welcome message, and then a queue message, which is another message that is periodically repeated. So you could set this up to where somebody enters a queue. Thank you for calling so-and-so company. This is the sales queue. Please hold for your next representative, and then they could stream some hold music. And as time goes on, you could interject a queuing message to promote a sales opportunity, or, hey, you can also get us information on the website. Please log on to so-and-so to get help. Here, in terms of the actual agent, the agent behind the phone has a few options to log in, log out. They can log in and log out of a single group, be part of multiple groups. So if you've got a smaller sales force, you could have maybe 1 or 2 folks that are specific to sales, and then have a few other members of your team that drift through different departments. Or could even log in if the queues start to fill up, or there's a special being ran and we need extra staff during that time. These agents can physically be in the office, they can be on a laptop and a soft phone, or you could even be forwarding these requests off to remote extensions perhaps. So there's many ways to get an agent connected to the core system to be able to handle these phone calls. It's also not restricted to a specific PBX or telephone system. You could have multiple systems doing this, where you could have, say, an 8L managing the sales and accounting division, and then you want a separate system to manage your support and customer service, whatever other queues remain on separate systems if you start exceeding the volumes. You could connect the 2 systems to the point where if somebody needs to get to another queue, they can be sent off to that queue as a simple forward from the agent that's helping them and get them into the other queue on the other system. Taking a look at another really interesting feature we added, a barge-in feature pack. This set of features is really intended for either a call center environment or even just a administrative assistant and boss environment. So let's look at three of the main features here. You've got a listen mode. The listen mode is for a supervisor to be able to enter a live call and force a 3-way call where he or she can come in and listen to the conversation. So if you've got perhaps a new agent on staff, you see they're on a phone call, and you go, hey, let me listen in and see what's going in. So it's basically a silent listen in kind of observe what's going on. And at that point, if there's a need, you could drop out and do a whisper or barge in at this point to correct what's going on. Whisper allows a supervisor or even administrative assistants to listen in on a call and also say something, can comment as we move on. Barge in is a little more powerful, where a supervisor can jump into a phone call and basically set up a forced three-way call where he can hear and speak to all the parties on the call. So a couple of really interesting features there that kind of enhance the experience. Now, on top of all of this, you've got an ACD that's running, you've got agents that are going on, you've got supervisors monitoring this. But another aspect of the business would be to obviously record the calls. Integrated into the 32X, the 8L, and 26X is call recording. This allows active calls to be recorded. It can be all phone calls, it can be calls on specific extensions, or the recording could be initiated directly from the phone. On the smartphone, there's a record button, and that button could be used to start and stop recording as the calls go on. Most customers are running recording all the time on specific extensions. Now, a key point to note is, where do these recordings go? They can either be stored locally on the local memory of the PBX, can be stored on the compact flash, or it could be moved off to an external FTP server. What we recommend is storing them on the FTP, as well as keeping a few recent copies on the PBX. This way you've got the calls recorded, they're stored on an FTP server, which has hopefully got backup, so that's all safe. As well, that the most recent calls are still visible on the 8L, so a supervisor or some other admin can log in and just browse the most recent calls, the recorded calls, and say, okay, let's see how agent so-and-so did on this call yesterday. And they can quickly play that from the GUI interface of the 8L, or just download the WAV file and email it around to other members of the staff. Another one, for example, is conferencing. Within the 32X, 8L, 26X, you can enable an integrated conference bridge. This allows you to offer conferencing now across the company. You can bring on other customers. These can be recorded. Just as you can raise your hand today to ask questions, there's also a lecture and training modes where users of this conference call can actually log into the PBX with their conferencing call information and view the current conference call, raise their hand to speak. So it's a very interactive conferencing environment. It's not just a simple, hey, here's the bridge, everybody join, here's the number. There's also a full GUI interface for this solution. Environments where they like to have custom hold music, or like to adjust their hold music based upon specials that change all the time. But it's basically a very small application that rides on a PC, and that PC would stream MP3 music to the QuadroM device. Every stream would have its own port number, so you could have multiple streams coming out of the same PC, going to the QuadroM, and then inside the QuadroM, when you define where the hold music comes from, you just select the port and marry the two together. A few other notes on the hold music. It's called the Epygi Media Streamer. Again, it's just a PC-based application that runs and streams MP3 files to an IP address wrapped in a specific RTP port that can be referenced in the GUI for the hold music.